And the very people
So
who were defending Christine Blasey Ford are now attacking her.
Went after E. Jean Carroll and tried to discredit her because she was a woman attacking a Republican. Is that the same reason?
Those accusations. So
no, you
let's
did
be
this on
clear.
Saturday. You said this on Saturday.
About
Do you want me to read back what you said on Saturday?
Feel free.
Okay, please. Thank you. Thank you, because I come prepared. Okay, so first thing you said.
Okay, I would be careful here because people have had to pay millions of dollars for making the same comments that you're about to make.
Okay, so let me read, and I'm going to start with the quote.
In today's video, we're breaking down a heated exchange on Newsnight with Abby Phillip, where Charles Blow confronts Lydia Moynihan over her own past comments. The debate goes beyond one politician and raises a bigger question. Are political standards applied fairly to everyone, or do they change depending on party loyalty? Let's take a closer look at this tense moment and what it reveals about consistency in American politics. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's get started.
I actually do think that if you look at E. Jean Carroll's case now, there is new evidence coming to light. She says that Reid Hoffman has nothing to do with it. It turns out that he may have, and then Abby had to correct you and let you know on Saturday what I'm going to let you know today, which is that has already been presented to a judge.
Let me just try to distill what this conversation seems to be
about. Reid Hoffman did actually donate to that.
Hold on a second. This is not about Reid Hoffman, but I do want to observe something about this interaction, because if you're a regular non-red shirt, blue shirt wearing American, what you're basically seeing is that Democrats have decided that sometimes it's okay to believe the accuser and sometimes it's not. And then Republicans have decided that sometimes it's okay to believe the accuser and sometimes it's not. And it really depends mostly on the partisanship in the moment. To me, that is like everything that people think is wrong with our politics.
And Abby, you saw it on display at Graham Plattner's rally tonight. You had Ro Khanna get up and basically say, we should believe the women who have come out and disclosed these allegations. And then you had Graham Plattner saying the exact opposite, that it was a politicized attack. His campaign went on the offensive and went after Lindsay Fifield in that New York Times story. And so they can't even get their own message straight on the same stage in which they're appearing.
So you believe that women their stories should be credited and they should be believed?
Well, you know what, Charles, I actually worked with Lindsay Fifield for many years. Okay. She was my colleague, I was her boss. And so in this particular case, yes, I think Lindsay is a credible person and I do believe her.
But not Christine Blasey Ford, you don't believe that? Or do you credit it at all?
Let's also be clear, this is happening
I want to ask, because when you interviewed Lindsey Graham in 2018, you didn't ask a single word about her. You literally prompted him to repeat what he had said in the Senate and did not say anything about the case that she was presenting. I don't believe that you do care about what women are saying.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask, okay, let's just be transparent about this. You don't believe Christine Blasey Ford. Is he right about that?
I think there are many holes that were poked in Christine Blasey Ford's story, not only by Senate Republicans at the time, but also in all of the information that was revealed. I mean, it was clearly an attempt to try to take down Justice Kavanaugh.
So that's a no. But Charles, you said the people of Maine will decide. Sure, they will. Right. Do you believe Lindsay Fifield?
I believe that her story should be taken as at face value to say this is what she believes. I don't know what it has to be litigated. I think it has to be litigated. Yeah, we have to look into it.
Does it?
I believe so. I believe in every case. Because
at the end of the day, I mean, Brett Kavanaugh's situation was not going to be litigated. The ask from Democrats was take it at face value and don't vote.
There was testimony. First of all, there was testimony.
Yeah, but that's not litigation.
Not
litigation. Testimony in a confirmation hearing.
Right.
What we've seen in recent years is politicians demanding that certain accusations be taken seriously, only to become far more skeptical when those same accusations involve someone from their own political side. That's not just a Republican issue or a Democratic issue, it's a credibility issue, and voters are paying attention. A big reason trust in political institutions has dropped is that many Americans believe the rules seem to change depending on who's being accused. The answer isn't to believe every allegation or dismiss them all. The answer is to examine claims carefully, review the evidence, and let the facts lead wherever they may, regardless of party affiliation. What's especially interesting is how political figures today can survive major scandals that might have ended careers decades ago. In the 1980s and 1990s, a single controversy could be politically devastating. Now, many voters view scandals through a partisan filter before even considering the facts. Part of the reason is that voters often feel they're choosing between imperfect candidates. Issues like inflation, housing affordability, healthcare costs, public safety, and the economy frequently outweigh concerns about character. Whether people agree with that or not, it's become a reality of modern politics. Still, that doesn't mean character no longer matters. When similar concerns continue to surface over time, voters have every right to ask difficult questions. Most people don't judge leaders based on one isolated event, and they look for patterns that reveal judgment, honesty, and leadership qualities. And that standard should apply equally to Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike. If you enjoyed this analysis, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with others. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps these conversations going.
Was listen to this woman, believe her, and vote against his nomination. That was the ask.
Here's what I'll say. I think, to your point, if you feel like you do have a blue or a red jersey on, I think we are living in a hypocritical political environment right now, and it is hard to take any accusation and any stance of moral clarity with any real validity because of who is our current president, quite honestly. And I think that he has been convicted by a jury of his peers. He has said called most people everything but a child of God. And then people are asked to hold themselves to a higher standard than the leader of our nation. And I think that is hard for people because we are all flawed humans. What I will say, and I've been saying this for the last 24 hours, the accusations that came out in this investigation are very disturbing to me. I will never in this iteration of the political cycle get to vote for Graham Plattner. Mainers will decide. But what I will say is that sometimes, and the American public actually did this in 2024, sometimes people's immoral character flaws are less consequential to their life circumstances. And in this instance, I think Mainers are saying Susan Collins is not representing them in the way that they want to be representative. And they are willing to overlook that. And quite honestly, so did 79 million Americans in 2024.
So did tens of millions of Americans who voted for Donald Trump.
That's what I'm saying. But the question is, all I just want to say is the question is why are we there? Why is our economy, why is our international affairs so turbulent, so unstable that we have to overlook really flawed acts on our leaders because other people's leadership is worse?
Overlooking those things is a choice. You know, a permissive culture happens when people allow themselves
to feed your kids
engage
is
in
not
a permissive
choice.
culture. That's what happens. But I just want to play the James Carville thing because we heard a little taste of it, but here's how he reads the situation.
We got a guy who he could be 100 times more than he is. He'd never be as as what we got in Washington now anyway. And I just saw this tut and hey, we got to do this and we got to be fair. You know, James, if a Republican did what Graham Plattner did, you would be outraged. Yeah, I would. But what I'm more outraged about and what I have to consider first is this country is about to lose it. The whole god thing.
Again, I mean, you could swap the name Graham Plattner for Donald Trump, and it would be the exact same rationale.
Well, look, the allegations against Graham Plattner are very serious and need to be taken seriously. I don't think any accusation carries a conviction. They need to be examined. They're far less serious than the accusations against Donald Trump, not just by E. Jean Carroll, but by many other women. Confirmed in his own attitude, you can grab him by you know what. Okay? So there are two different cases, and we should distinguish between them. What Carville says, he's onto something. Americans are not as interested in some ways in class issues as they are in vulnerability issues. It's like Marjorie Taylor Greene and in Graham Plattner, the precariousness of life in our country. We are one divorce away from being in the toilet. We're one illness away
from being in the gutter. And that is not the American way. And they hear the shiny people tut-tutting, as he says, get this candidate out, get that candidate out, don't vote for this person, don't leave it up to the people of Maine. I trust them.
Well, okay. Then we can say pretty definitively, no more talk about character. Whether it's Donald Trump or Graham Plattner or Marjorie Taylor Greene or anyone.
No,
in
you
politics.
don't have to go there.
No, I mean,
But it's
why
the point
not?
that I
I mean,
make is not
let's
that.
not talk
I
about it
understand what you're
because
saying. I understand what you're saying.
if the policy is the thing that is the most important to you, and the policy from the left looks a certain way to you, policy from the right looks a certain way to you, then all the other moral issues should just be off the table.
No, but
I understand what
be
you're saying,
policed. They
but I'm
shouldn't be
saying this.
policed.
I refuse. I've watched enough cycles since 16 of Democrats being judged by a different ruler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that the worst ruler should rule the day. I'm simply saying this idea of that there are different measurements for the same sorts of behavior that some people just ignore, and other people drop out and say, okay, well, you're supposed to be the better, the more moral group.
I
That
would
is
like
played
to point
out.
out, though, this is a primary. So Democrats have the opportunity to select a candidate. They can take out Susan Collins, right? This isn't about a question, do I vote for Graham Plattner or do I vote for Susan Collins? This is a question, do I vote for somebody who's normal or do I vote for somebody who has a Nazi tattoo?
Let me just ask you one last thing, and then we have to go. Given everything that was said here, especially about the allegations against President Trump, many of which were validated in court, right? Given all of that, I mean, is that disqualifying for Donald Trump?
I mean, it's
Tongue-tied.
Yeah.
Tongue-tied.
And
a
that's
lot of them
why-
are not. Look, I mean,
and that's the problem.
I think we just
Yes,
have. I think
they
we just
are.
have to decide
Just
what
say
we're,
it.
what
You
we're
can.
doing.
You'll
here.
still be allowed on television,
You're
and they'll still so you
We
talk.
got to decide what we're doing here. We either care about it or we
Your point that
don't.
is made
Do we care about it?
No.
the
Lydia,
point I'm making
Lydia,
is that in a primary,
there are
you
moments.
have the
Hold
option
on.
to
Let me
vote
let
for
her
a
finish.
Democrat. You can
Sure.
select a normal
Just like
person or a
Republicans
Nazi.
had an opportunity to vote
And
for and
Republicans
against Donald
selected
Trump.
Donald
Not
Trump.
once, not twice, but on 3
Yes.
occasions. And they ignored.
Ignored it. Just like
They
Ken
ignored the
Sexton, or
allegations
Paxton
against
right now in
Donald
Texas.
Trump.
When people are struggling to pay their bills, put food on the table, afford healthcare, or maintain stable employment, those issues often take priority over everything else. For years, political experts have argued that economic concerns are among the strongest factors influencing how people vote, sometimes even more powerful than political ideology itself. However, there can be consequences when voters repeatedly signal that personal behavior isn't a major concern. Over time, politicians may begin acting as though it doesn't matter either. Standards can slowly erode until actions that might have destroyed a political career decades ago barely generate attention today. That's why Terry's argument about an increasingly permissive political environment matters. Trust in institutions rarely disappears overnight. It fades gradually when people excuse misconduct on their own side while demanding accountability from their opponents. And this trend extends beyond politics. Confidence in Congress, the media, and other major institutions has declined significantly over the years. Many Americans believe the rules are no longer applied equally, fueling frustration and skepticism across the political landscape. What makes this discussion so important is that it helps explain why controversial candidates continue to attract support. Many voters aren't necessarily approving of every action or decision a candidate makes. Instead, they're weighing issues like the economy, public safety, and broader policy goals more heavily. The challenge is that those factors is fighting for the issues that matter most to them. If you're enjoying this discussion, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with others. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps the conversation going.